Hi there, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We'll just be waiting a few minutes for a few more people to join, and then we'll get started. So today's webinar is on the unspoken problems of ITSA MTD for accountants and bookkeepers. And to give you all a bit of an insight and a background, we at Numisma, we are software developers. I myself was an accountant in practice before moving into the world of accounting software. And we've been planning ahead for the next few years, just going into detail as to what ITSA MTD has in store for accountants and bookkeepers and the problems that they're going to face. So knowing our audience, knowing the fact the way the clients are operating at the moment that will fall within the scope of ITSA MTD, we can see that there are going to be problems for the adoption of this phase. And that's what this webinar is all about. It's just helping you get ready for ITSA MTD to make sure you don't fall behind, but also highlighting it that it's a massive opportunity for anyone that is willing to go ahead and get up and running with this scheme. Just because most of the clients that fall within the scope of ITSA MTD may not be ready at all, and they're going to need a lot of hand holding. So this could be a really, really good opportunity for anyone that's willing to take it up. But we'll just wait a few more minutes for a few more people to join, and then we'll get started. Okay. Right, I can see quite a few people have joined now, which is fantastic. Just to confirm, can you all see my screen and are you able to hear me? Great, yeah, I can see some comments coming in the Q&A section, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Okay, great. Well, let's get started. So I did mention previously, but for anyone that wasn't here at the time when I was talking about it, but today's session is all about the unspoken problems of ITSA MTD for accountants and bookkeepers. And we at Numisma, we are actually an accounting software company. So we do cloud-based bookkeeping, payroll, final accounts, self-assessments, and a CRM built specifically for accountants and bookkeepers. But we are actively planning a few years in advance, so ready for the release of ITSA MTD. And basically, the reason why we're doing this session is because when we were planning for the introduction of ITSA MTD, we realized that there are going to be some problems that haven't really been spoken about at this moment in time, because it is 2 years in the future. But it is best to plan ahead and get ahead of the curve, especially when there are such significant changes coming in that will really have an impact on the industry. Okay, so let's get started. So what is ITSA MTD? Essentially, it is the next phase of HMRC's Making Tax Digital initiative. This time around, it's for self-assessment, whereas the last one was for VAT. Now, as you can imagine, the differences between the two are quite significant because self-assessment has been static for such a long time now. So when does it start? It starts from April 2024. It was actually originally set to come in sooner, but it was delayed as a result of COVID-19. There are several phases to this, but the first will be April 2024. I will let you know what type of client that covers, but from April 2025 onwards, partnerships will also fall within the scopes. So right now, it is just your self-employed individuals and your landlords. So who does it affect? It affects self-employed business owners and landlords with a total income above £10,000 per annum. And what are the changes? Essentially, there's three main changes. The first one is that your clients will need to keep records in a digital format. So that will most likely be in a software similar to Numisma or another cloud-based software. However, that does tie in with one of the problems that we're facing at the moment when we're speaking to accountants and bookkeepers, is that cloud-based software for these types of clients is simply too expensive. The client won't pay £20, £26 or £33, however much the software provider wants to charge them for the cloud-based offering. So at Numisma, we've priced it at £5 per client per month for bookkeeping. That makes it affordable for larger clients, but also for your smallest of clients that may be using spreadsheets. And those are the clients that will probably be falling within the scope of ITSA MTD. In addition to keeping records digitally, they will also need to make quarterly submissions. So these submissions will actually be estimates on a quarterly basis based on the bookkeeping entries. It will be somewhat similar to VAT returns. However, every single client will be filing at the same time because everyone has the same deadlines. So it's like your busiest VAT quarter every quarter. In addition to the quarterly submissions, there will also be an annual return that needs to be filed, very similar to the annual return that you're filing right now, if not exactly the same as the self-assessment you're filing right now on an annual basis. So the quarterly submissions will be submitted. So you'll do 4 of those throughout the year, and then the final self-assessment submission will be submitted, and it will just finalize the figures that have been submitted throughout the year. Okay, and what you're all here for, the problems. So when we were doing research, we recognized that there are many different issues and many different problems that accountants and bookkeepers may face when they are rolling out ITSA MTD. From the face of it, or from a top level point of view, it sounds like you're just implementing a digital system for your client and doing quarterly submissions. However, when you drill down into the detail, there's a lot more that needs to be taken into account. For example, the first problem I've highlighted there is logistics of gathering client paperwork. So right now, your clients will be used to giving you their paperwork on an annual basis or on a quarterly basis if they are submitting VAT returns. Now, there's 2 different problems there. The ones that are giving it to you on an annual basis, they are going to need a method, or they are going to need to give you their records on a quarterly basis, or they will need to process them on their own on a quarterly basis. So it's important to plan ahead who will be doing it themselves and who will be giving you the records quarterly. If they're doing it themselves, are you going to recommend a system for them to use, or are they going to use their own system? If they are using their own system and you have a lot of clients using their own system, how are you going to maintain control of that and make sure it fits in with your internal processes in your practice to make sure that any processes you have aren't too lengthy or aren't a massive administrative burden? Now, in terms of your VAT registered clients, they may be doing their VAT filings on a quarterly basis. One important thing to bear in mind here is to align their VAT filings with their ITSA MTD filings. Otherwise, you could potentially end up with a client that has a VAT filing period that ends quarterly in, say, April, and an ITSA MTD filing period that ends in March. And as a result, you're having to get 2 lots of records and duplicating the effort every single quarter for each different period, when instead you can align them, make sure they're both at the same period end, and then you can file them both at the same time. So that will take some planning in advance. You won't be able to just wait until April and hope that happens naturally. Okay, so in addition to that, there are increased frequency of deadlines. So in line with the quarterly submissions, you're going to need to have 4 more deadlines to manage across every single self-employed or landlord client that has a turnover in excess of £10,000. And the difference between VAT and ITSA MTD is that all of these deadlines will be at exactly the same time. So you're going to have to be on top of your workload. It's like having self-assessment season every quarter, unfortunately. And then the third point is staff and task management. So if you do have members of staff, how are you going to keep on top of all of their tasks that they're performing and all of the deadlines that need to be hit to make sure that you're submitting all of the tax returns in time? You may already have a system in place for that at the moment, but does that connect to your self-assessment system, or is it going to create a bit of an administrative burden? And then finally, the obvious one is the digitalization of records. So how are you going to set about that task? Not 100% sure at the moment, but there may be some bridging tools to begin with. However, if you do use a software, does it have all of the tools you need in order to get the records into the system and digitalize the records easily? Okay, so that's it for the PowerPoint presentation. But I just wanted to mention that we are here to help. We're not just making all of these points and making it doom and gloom. We do genuinely want to help accountants and bookkeepers overcome these hurdles and build more profitable practices than ever before, thanks to streamlined processes. So at Numisma, we are, like I said, a cloud-based bookkeeping, payroll, final accounts, self-assessment, and CRM software. Every single element of Numisma is interconnected. So you enter data in one place and it feeds through to the rest. For example, if you do the bookkeeping, it feeds through to the final accounts, but also if it's for a self-employed individual, it feeds through to self-assessment. So natively, Numisma as a system is already MTD ready. And it's affordable for all of your clients, not just your top end clients that need the integrations and the powerful features that other cloud-based bookkeeping software have. So to show you how we can help and how we can help get your clients ready for ITSA MTD, I'd just like to show you the software that we've built. Now, this screen here is the system that we've built for accountants and bookkeepers. It helps you manage your tasks, it helps you manage all of your deadlines, and it helps you manage all of your clients. So along the top here, we've got some KPIs in relation to your business. So how many businesses do not have bank feeds, how many pending receipts there are that need to be book kept, and how many unreconciled bank transactions there are across your entire client base. And each of these you can actually drill down into to see what's behind. So in my practice, I can see I've got several clients there and they've uploaded many receipts that I need to go in and start bookkeeping. And if I drill down into that 10, it will take me to that client profile where I can then begin actually processing these receipts. So we've built receipt capture into the system. It's actually in our mobile app, and the mobile app connects to the web browser so that any pictures uploaded by your clients, because they get the mobile app for free, will be stored in the system ready for bookkeeping. So this picture isn't a great copy, but if we go here, we've got 1st November 2021. And we can search the amount of £7.50. So that will search the system to see if there's already a duplicate. If not, we can add the receipt manually. So we've got the full end-to-end bookkeeping process in here. And then we can select an expense type, enter a description, and then select a VAT rate as well. And then at that point, I could save that. But what I would like to show you, and I will show you it shortly, is our mobile application where you can actually take pictures of receipts and upload it to the system here. But going back, I mentioned that one of the problems that you may face is task and staff management. So we've also got a table here for clients where all of your clients are grouped by entity type and service, and you've got one for deadlines. So within the self-assessment section, I can drill down into the 13 self-assessments that need to be produced, and it will take me to this dashboard here where I can then see all of my self-assessment clients. I can see who they're assigned to and how much tax is due, as well as the work status. And we actually have a dashboard that is dedicated to self-assessments. So along the top, we've got all of the statuses that a tax return could possibly be in, and each of the numbers can be drilled down into in order to see the tax return that needs to be produced and who it's assigned to in the assignee column. So if we drill down into a one that is in the questionnaire sent stage, we would then be able to see that tax return that is for James high net worth. And then we can drill down into that and we can actually go into their self-assessment. So this self-assessment that's loading isn't the ITSA MTD return. It is actually the annual return. However, we are in the middle of building our ITSA MTD offering. The beauty of the fact that it's completely interconnected is the fact that the bookkeeping entries are automatically linked to a self-assessment already. So all we need to do is introduce the quarterly filing. But if we go into income and say self-employment, on the self-employment pages themselves, you've got the option to link a business. So here, you'd actually be able to search a first name and last name of a self-employed individual, and then you'd be able to see all of the records that match. So we could say Homer, see if he has a record. Okay, so there's no turnover in this company, but you would be able to link it. And then that would link to the self-assessment. And if there was any income, if there were any expenses, they would all pull through to the self-assessment and be pre-populated for you. But then you'd be able to go through, review it, make any adjustments, and then save it. But as a result of creating that link, going forward, once you continue to do the bookkeeping and the next year tax return needs to be produced, then it would automatically pull through all of the income, all of the expenses, and all of the the self-employment details. Okay, so that is how a self-assessment is linked to a bookkeeping profile. It covers the fact, it covers the core ITSA MTD principle of a complete digital connection, and we've got task and staff management. So that's a solution that solves another one of the problems that I highlighted. But in addition to that, we do have a mobile app. So I am going to try and test this on my mobile phone. So I'll just try and share my screen. Okay. Bear with me, sorry. Okay. Okay, there you go. So you can now see my mobile phone, which is exactly what I wanted to share. I'm logged in as Barney's Bolorama, which is the account that I was showing you earlier on my computer. And in this mobile app, like I said, all of your clients will be able to download this. It's included in the £5 per month package. And they would be able to take pictures of receipts and upload them to the web platform. So in the top right hand corner, they've got the camera icon. They can select that and then go to take picture. At this point, they can then select camera or gallery. So we'll go for camera and you'll see my desk there. So let's take a picture of a, there you go. So we'll take a single picture there and that's uploaded to the web application successfully. In addition to being able to take single pictures, you can also take multiple pictures. So this will actually allow you just to snap away and then upload them seamlessly to the web application. So we can go for a picture of the door over there and another picture of, say, the light. And then select the green tick, and that's uploaded those pictures successfully. We are in the middle of working on a combined functionality, which will allow for multiple pictures of the same receipt to be uploaded and then stitched together. So say if you need to take a picture of the front and the back, then that functionality will be able to be used. But in addition to that, they will also be able to view all of their sales invoices on the screen, and they'll see how much is due in relation to each invoice. So if they wanted to, they could select an invoice and then send an email to that customer, and they could chase up payment from the mobile phone. So they can actually use it as their own system to save having to use spreadsheets to manage their business. Yeah. And in the top right hand corner, in addition to the camera, you've also got the plus icon, which is where they can then come to raise new invoices, create supplier bills, enter any mileage claims, allowances, create new customers and new suppliers. And they can also update their own company information, enter their email settings if they want to send any email from the mobile app, and that will come from their own email address. And they would be able to change their password. So we're going back to the plus button and selecting invoice. You can see the next invoice number has been populated automatically. It's completely synced to the web application. And then they can select their customer that they would like to invoice, the bank they would like to be paid to, and then the invoice date and the date that that invoice is due for payment. And then by selecting add an item, they'll be able to select their nominal code and then enter a description, enter a unit price and a quantity, and then a VAT rate, and then save and continue. And that will add a line item. And then by selecting the plus icon, they can add another line item. So in the mobile app itself, your clients can raise sales invoices with multiple line items. Okay, and then we go for zero rate and save and continue. So now we've got an invoice with a net value of 2,600, a VAT amount of 500, and a gross amount of 3,100. And at this point, we can select save and send, or we can select save. The invoice number is invoice 532. So I'll remember that for when I go back to the web application. Okay, so by selecting save and send, it will then take me to the email page. Or if I select save itself, then it will just, bear with me, sorry. By selecting save itself, it will just save that sales invoice and store it within the web application. So let's select save and send. And then it's saved that invoice and it's taken me directly to the email page. Okay. And then on the dashboard, it's created the new entry for Moses Lack. The due date is the 31st of March, invoice number 532, and the total amount is £3,100. We can do exactly the same for supplier bills. And then finally, in the bottom right-hand corner, we also have contacts. So here you can see a list of all of your customers, all of the suppliers, and if there is a phone number or an email address entered for each of the customers and suppliers, then you would be able to select that phone number or email to send an email or make a call to them. So if I select the call icon, it pulls up the phone number, which is the Numisma support line. Or email, and we've got Santa at northpole.worldwide. Okay, so in addition to the invoices, you've got supplier bills, which I won't go into too much detail, but at the bottom there, you can also attach a file from the camera. We've got mileage claims, where we can select the directorate it belongs to and the transport method. There you go. So £112.50 can be claimed for that amount of mileage. And we also have allowances and the ability to enter new customers. Oh. There you go. So new customers can be added there, and then new suppliers. Okay. And very soon we are adding bank feeds to the mobile app so that your client will be able to enable and disable bank feeds directly from the mobile phone. That's in development at the moment, so we're aiming to get that released very, very soon. But from the mobile app perspective, that is it. So I'm going to share my screen again on the computer. There you go. So back to Barney's Bowlerama. So now that I've raised that sales invoice, if we go to sales, I should be able to go to or search for invoice 532. It's most likely on the last page. There you go. So there's invoice 532, £3,100, and I can view that now, and I should see a nice looking invoice. Excellent. Yeah. So I've got the logo, just like it would appear if you create it in the web application. There's also the Pay Now button, which is a really useful feature that's enabled by going into settings and then enabling TrueLayer. I'm not going to go into that in too much detail today, but essentially what that does is allow you to request and receive up to £250,000 from your customer using open banking technology. And that's free to use in Numisma for all of your clients. Okay, so that is the ability to raise sales invoices from the mobile app and how they're stored in the web application. But I also took a few pictures on the mobile app, so they will appear in pending receipts. And you can see here, I've got a few pictures there that I can then go in and bookkeep. So there's the picture of my door. Normally you'd go through, enter a date, a total amount, and you'd bookkeep that as normal. So let's just go in and enter it as 31st December 2021 for £500. Add the new receipt manually. And then we can select a supplier. And then save that. So I'll just enter the bill number so I can quickly find it. Okay, and then with an expenditure, we can go and search for that bill number. And then essentially what will happen is the receipt will be in line with that book kept transaction. So all of the details are here. We can select the PDF icon and that will show you the picture of the receipt. So that meets your digital record keeping requirements. And to make your life easier as well, if your client prefers to use the desktop, they can create everything from the web application instead of the mobile phone. But within banking, we do have the ability to set up bank feeds. So we connect to a wide range of different bank accounts, including Monzo. We've also got Starling, Tide, and a few other challenger banks as well. The most notable bank that we don't have, well, two banks, is the Cooperative and Metro, and that's purely because they haven't got open banking technology developed within their system yet. But we have been assured by our supplier that we use for bank feeds that as soon as they have it and they have connected to support bank feeds, then our supplier called TrueLayer will be connecting to it and providing that functionality to us as well. Okay. So once the bank feeds have been connected and the transactions are coming into Numisma, essentially what will happen is all of the transactions will go into unreconciled transactions. I must say as well, there's a question that's going to come in, I'll answer it right now, but you can also upload a CSV file if you don't want to use bank feeds. So your client can download CSV files from their bank account, and then you can upload them via a CSV here. if you get a PDF document from your client, so a PDF bank statement, you can also use our PDF to CSV converter, which is free as well within the system. So by going into unreconciled transactions, there's a few different ways to reconcile the bank account. So the first and the most manual is to go through and manually select all of the nominal codes themselves and then select reconcile. We have bank rules, so you can create new rules and you can go through, enter descriptions, and then based on the descriptions that are entered, the rule here is allocate a bank transaction to an account if description has a specific text. So it will search that description and then it will apply it to a certain nominal code, a certain VAT rate, and it will either apply it to both debits and credits, or just debits or just credits. But by doing this and creating all of these individual bank rules, you can really automate and speed up the bank reconciliation process. So I'm just going to refresh the page here to remove what I've already done. And then essentially, once the rules are created, you can select run rules. So that will then go through, it will look at all of the transactions and it will apply the rules as per the rules you've created. So here it's put this to default bank, UK and overseas travel, ASH test and ASH test. Now, in addition to the rules, you also have suggestive technology. So we've coded Numisma to recognize when there are potential matches between transactions. So on the right-hand side, you'll notice there's some green icons. There's an exclamation mark, and essentially this is saying there's a supplier bill in the system from Mo, and the receipt number is 111. The date is the 1st of December 2020, and the amount is £1,000. So it's saying that this is a potential match. If you agree that's a match, you can select the green tick, and then that will assign it to Mo, and it will mark that supplier bill as paid. So that'll be your double entry. Alternatively, if you decided that it's not correct, you can search Mo and then find the supplier. There you go. And then once you've got Mo the supplier, you can select our find a match functionality to see if there are any invoices between two individual dates. And then it will show you a list of all of the supplier bills or all of the sales invoices that have been raised in relation to that customer or supplier. And then you can select the ones that match. And once you've selected, you can then reconcile them. So this will actually allow you to reconcile a single bank transaction to 4 or 5 sales invoices or supplier bills. Okay. So they are the different reconciliation options you have. There is a lot more functionality within the Numisma as well that you can utilize. For example, the split functionality that will split this bank transaction into many different nominal codes. But Numisma is also MTD ready for VAT, so you can already submit VAT returns directly to HMRC. You can enter journals, recurring journals, import trial balances, and we do have the functionality to pull through a trial balance from Xero or QuickBooks. Really useful if you want to use Numisma for final accounts, corporation tax, and self-assessment production, but your client uses Xero or QuickBooks for bookkeeping. And then also we have a wide range of different reports. So these are really straightforward reports that you or your client can generate. And if I go into the profit and loss, we can quickly generate a useful month-on-month comparative report. And the nice thing with this is that once you have this, if you're unsure of any of the numbers, you can quickly right-click them or just click them themselves and drill down into those numbers to see what they're made up of. And at this point, you would then be able to go in and edit those transactions or move them to different nominal codes if you decided that they were in the wrong place. And you can do that for the entire profit and loss. You can also do exactly the same for the balance sheet. So this will just compare it with the previous period. And again, you can drill down into these numbers as well. And then in addition to the P&L and balance sheet, you've also got your trial balance and your debtors and creditors report. So here we can see all of our debtors. And if we drill down into a debtor, we can see a customer statement. And this can actually be generated as a PDF. But I won't spend too long on this because there is a lot of functionality to show within the MISMA. Okay, so there's a debtor statement and how it would look. So in addition to being able to do the bookkeeping and capture the initial records, which meet your digital record keeping requirements, we do also do final accounts already. And the final accounts are completely linked to the bookkeeping entries. So once you do the bookkeeping, final accounts are produced and they always link back. So the beauty of this is I can go into the final accounts module, quickly jump to a specific section, but we can actually drill down on the numbers. And this is where it gets quite exciting because by drilling down on the numbers, you can actually access the bookkeeping records. So I could go on the 6,012 flat rate saving, and then it will show me the flat rate saving in the bookkeeping module. Yeah. So in addition to that, let's say sales. And then we may need to go to the last page on this one just to see the 8 million because there's quite a few transactions. But this is really useful when you're doing your comparative analysis, just to make sure all of the transactions are in the correct nominal code, and then you can quickly change them and move them to different nominal codes. So in addition to being able to click on the current year, you can also click on totals and the previous year figures. And the drill downs all work in exactly the same way. Same goes for the balance sheet. And then the notes are automatically produced based on what you've entered into the MISMA. For example, if you run the payroll in the MISMA, which we also support, then the number of employees will be calculated automatically. And then you've got the P&L, which again, all of the numbers can be drilled down into, which meets the digital record keeping requirements as well. But thinking forward to corporation tax MTD, we've already linked corporation tax returns to to bookkeeping records, and corporation tax returns are automatically produced off the back of bookkeeping tasks. So final accounts and corp tax both automatically produced. If you wanted to change this set of accounts from FRS 105 to FRS 102.1a, you can. We support both reporting standards. And you can also change the note templates that are included on the accounts. So here we've got FRS 105, and you can add some notes or edit them. But if we go to the account settings and just change that to FRS 102.1a, you then see a lot more notes than FRS 105. Yeah, and many are automatically published because they're required based on the bookkeeping entries that have been made. Okay, so moving on to the corporation tax return. The corporation tax is automatically calculated based on the bookkeeping entries, like I said, but there are many add backs that are automatically done for you. So charitable donations, depreciation, amortization, they're all added back for you. And then we claim AIA on all additions of fixed assets, and then you can always change it and edit how the capital allowances should be claimed. You can also change the add backs as well. But basically, we do all of the legwork for you, like your admin assistant, and then you can come in, do the top level review and update everything and make sure everything's correct. Okay. And then the corporation tax is calculated. And once you're happy with that, you can then go ahead and submit the accounts to Companies House. And you can submit the corporation tax to HMRC. And then in addition to being able to submit them, you can also send it to your client for e-signature. So within the document section, we've got this e-sign section here, and this will send the accounts and the corporation tax return to your client in a draft format. So it'll be best to send this before you actually do the filing, and then your client will just have a link in the email. They'll click that and they'll be taken to e-signing pages where they can then just simply sign the account, sign the corporation tax return, and both will be stored within the document section here on Numisma. And then at any time when you want to, you can view the document that has been signed. So here is one that has been signed previously, I believe. There you go. So that's signed by Homer Simpson, the director. And it's just stored in Numisma, so you don't have to store it externally. Okay. In addition to the core corporation tax return, we do also support CT 600As for any overdrawn directors' loan accounts, and the S455 tax that needs to be paid on it. And we do also have the CT 600L form as well, which is relatively new. And then I mentioned earlier about being able to change and make adjustments to the CT 600. So here you'd be able to claim for R&D, and you've also got any CT 600A form adjustments that you may need to make. And then within the CT 600 tax return, you've also got CT adjustments. So here, this is where you'd be able to change your profit and loss add backs. So adjust them in any way you like. You can claim your trading losses, non-trading losses, property losses, capital gains losses, and then also claim your capital allowances. Okay. So that is it for today's session. I hope you found it useful and you can see how Numisma can help you overcome those ITSA MTD hurdles. This session is really just to try and help accountants and bookkeepers, our existing partners, as well as any potential new ones, prepare for what's to come in the world of ITSA MTD. Because from my experience of being in practice, I know there's a large portion of clients that are using Excel spreadsheets that could benefit from software. For example, if they're on a spreadsheet and they're raising sales invoices via a spreadsheet or via Word or some other method, and they're having to give you those records manually every year or however often they give you those records, you could streamline that by implementing a software. And as long as it's affordable for your client, then it will make sense for them to use it, because chances are the amount of time saved by using a system like this for your clients will pay for itself. And your client will most likely appreciate the fact that you've introduced a system like this to them. And it's cheaper than a Netflix subscription, to be completely honest. I will show you the pricing. So on the Numisma website, you can go to it. We're completely transparent when it comes to pricing. We've got practice management, which is free. And then our bookkeeping and VAT, which is £5 per business per month. Now that includes accounts, corporation tax, and self-assessments. So all of the compliance needs that are linked to that bookkeeping profile are all included within the fee. So you wouldn't have to pay extra for them. It also includes the bank feeds. So there's no extra cost for bank feeds, and our mobile receipt capture app. So there's no extra costs whatsoever throughout Numisma. And then we've also got our payroll, pension, and CIS, which is £3 per business per month. That includes our automated payroll, which is ideal for director-only limited companies where the payroll doesn't change. You're just paying them up to the national insurance threshold. Essentially, what you can do with that is just set Numisma up to run payroll, and it will run every week or every month, whatever frequency you tell it to. And it will send the payslip, post the journal, and it will cover absolutely everything for you. And then if you do have any clients that you don't need bookkeeping, which you're just doing final accounts and self-assessments for at the moment, you can use our final accounts and self-assessment as a standalone software. And that would just be £2 per submission when you purchase submission credits in bulk, or £5 per submission on a pay-as-you-go basis. Okay. And we do have CRM as well, which we haven't touched on today, but that is a whole software in itself. That is £29 per member of staff in your practice per month. And essentially what the CRM does is allow you to manage your leads. So if you generate leads by going to networking events and you get business cards, you can bring them back, enter them into CRM, and start nurturing them via phone or email or any other means. Once you have a lead that wants a quote, you can generate a quote. It goes through a pricing matrix based on value-based pricing. So you'd select the services they need, pricing drivers such as turnover, number of transactions, how many self-assessments they need. That will then come back with a price, generate a quote. Once they've accepted, send them a letter of engagement and complete with e-signing. So they'll be able to e-sign the letter of engagement, which will then be stored in the system, and you'll receive a notification to say, congratulations, your client has, or sorry, you've got a new client, or your lead has signed the letter of engagement, complete the onboarding process. That then triggers an onboarding process where you can do the professional clearance, the KYC and AML check, and onboard them from start to finish. Once they're onboarded, they would then be a client and a contact. You can then continue the ongoing relationship, managing the workload. It will create the profile for them in the compliance side of Numisma. So if they have a bookkeeping record, a self-assessment record, payroll record, all of that will be created for you. And then the details will be linked between the two. And then also we have company secretarial, where you can file confirmation statements, incorporate new companies, manage shareholder registers, and do all of the company secretarial tasks. So I hope you found this useful. If you do have any other questions or queries, I haven't managed to cover any in this session. I apologize, but feel free to add them in the comments and I will answer some. I'll type away and respond to them. But if anyone does have any other questions or queries, or if you want a free trial or have a one-to-one demonstration, feel free to visit our website and book in with us, or contact our support team directly, because we do have phone and email support. They're available on 020-3021-2326 or support@numisma.co.uk. But I will hang around for a few more minutes just to see if there's any questions, and if there isn't, we'll bring this session to an end. But yeah, like I said, thank you very much for attending. I hope you found it useful, and I hope it's given you a bit of food for thought to actually prepare for ITSA MTD. And it's not all doom and gloom. There is a lot of work that's going to need to be done, but it's a huge opportunity for anyone that's willing to take it on and is going to push forward and challenge these sole traders to get ready now, because these sole traders will appreciate slightly more firmer approach from their accountant or bookkeeper, because they're relying on you to get them over the line, because the communications isn't really out there at the moment, and this is a huge change for them. I would say businesses really aren't ready for it at the moment, but we've got 2 years, so we're doing all we can to help you prepare and prepare for your clients. So we as a company, Numisma, we actually want to partner with accountants and bookkeepers, and we have built the whole system of Numisma for accountants and bookkeepers, so that you can really do your everyday work a lot easier. You can manage your staff, your clients, your deadlines all in one place. All of your data synchronizes across your entire suite, so you're not having to enter data into multiple places. And really, we're trying to harmonize compliance work and front office and back office systems that traditionally you had a back office system that you did final accounts on and corporation tax returns on, and then a front office system has been introduced recently in the form of cloud-based bookkeeping software. So we are now trying to harmonize the two and make it just super efficient for you to grow your practice and scale your practice. And we recognize there are many great software packages out there at the moment. You can implement a fantastic software stack consisting of 8, 9, maybe even 10 different software packages. However, the connections between all of them really never live up to expectation, purely due to the fact you're always going to have some data that you're going to have to enter into multiple places. And that data, if you forget to update it in 1 or 2 places, it always results in a problem, i.e. if you sent an email out and that email has placeholders on it and it's sent it using the wrong information, then it just causes unnecessary problems. Or if you're missing deadlines because you haven't got a task management system, or it's on a spreadsheet which is centralized by the owner, but the members of staff can't access it. There's all sorts of different issues. And my ideologies really come from my experience in practice as well. So the very first practice I worked in was actually a firm called Crunch Accounting that is based in the southeast of England. They're based in Brighton. And they were founded in 2009, and I joined them from 2013 through to roughly mid-2016 when I left. But during that period of time, they were the fastest growing accounting firm in the UK. And that was mainly due to the fact that they have really succinct, streamlined internal processes, but also they built their own cloud-based software. But my ideologies are all based on the processes that I saw and learned from there. And they were great at task management and deadline management. And as a result of that, their staff could handle much larger workload than a traditional practice. And as a result, they were much more profitable, and they could hire faster, but they could also take on more clients. And their client to member of staff ratio was a lot higher than normal. But that is what we have successfully created in the MISMA, which I'm really, really, well, the whole team is really, really proud of what we've achieved to date. But yeah, that's enough for me waffling. I hope you found this session useful. Like I said, I'm gonna bring this to an end now. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.